This is the strategy that works. We've been doing this for the last 3.5 years, and it's going to get the most levels of engagement.
Because I say it respectfully. It's time to eat up, right like a speeder, taking it deeper, and that's how it better be. I never let the comparison get to me. I just remember the promises meant for me. I know the enemy and that he's sent for me. I keep the blood of the lemons, my centerpiece. I cannot trust in no crystals or energy. Look at the chemistry, it do not even mix chemically. Most of the tricks they be gimmicks, they mimic the truth. It's poison and we got the remedy.
And what we're looking for is people that are hungry, wanting to hustle, wanting to break through walls, wanting to go after that legendary status.
Show me the chicken, I'm frying it. They say you ain't about it. Tell them that you finna make it, but they doubt it. But God did it. But you rose like the flower. Tell me what it's like to live with superpowers. I don't know, but I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I just know that I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it.
What's up, guys? I'm Kyle Milan. Today's Tuesday, so let's talk about some marketing. That's what we talk about on Tuesdays: industrial marketing, manufacturing marketing, and it's all about paid search today. So those of you that are new to the content, head over to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Over 1,600 videos at this point on that channel, posting 20, 30, sometimes 40 videos a week, all about industrial sales, industrial marketing, the manufacturing world. How can you stand out as a brand? If you're a salesperson, how can you improve your pipeline? How can you make more money for yourself, revenue for your company, everything in between? If you're a marketer, what should you do? I know your department is small at most of the companies that you guys are working at. So I'm going to tell you how to do it with a small budget, with a big budget, how to build a team, what areas to focus on, what's working. That's all over the YouTube channel. Head over to it, turn on them notifications. We go live every single week on Tuesdays, as long as I'm not traveling. And then every other week on Thursdays, we talk about sales. This Thursday, we're coming to you live to talk about, I think it's post-show marketing or pre-show marketing for trade shows. What are the sales tactics for that? So you guys be sure to go to my events, subscribe, and put that one on your calendar and join us live. I think it's like 2:30 this Thursday. So for today, we're going to be talking about when to use paid search in industrial marketing. Now, this is a somewhat controversial topic. We've worked with companies that are spending a little bit of money a month. I'm talking 500, 1,000. We've worked with companies that are spending 20, 30, 40, 50,000 plus a month in the media buying search paid space. So we're going to talk specifically about search for the first 3 bullet points, and the last 2 bullet points I'm going to talk about in general paid media. So if you guys are joining us live, let me know where you're coming in from. Put a comment in the comment section, whether you're on YouTube or LinkedIn. If you're watching this on the replay, the best place to watch is on YouTube, because LinkedIn just lets it get buried into the mix. So let's get into it. Bullet point number 1. Are we going purple, Riley?
I'm going to say it.
I know you love the purple. Bullet point number 1. Let's talk about it. We're going to go paid versus organic. NIC. Paid versus organic. What do I mean by that? Let's go through some stats. You guys can Google search this, fact check me all you want. In general, across the board, that's 2 words that I messed up today. It's going to be one of those days. Across the board with paid search, it says the people that track this stuff say that about 30% of users that search something in Google, we're just going to use Google to start with this, 30% of users will click on an ad. Okay, so someone's got 1,000 people searching in a month in the United States. 300 of those people are going to click an ad. 30%. Does that shock you? Is that too high? Is that too low from what you would expect? I mean, in general, I feel like people are smart these days, and it's not like the search engines, Google, Bing, whatever, are like hiding the fact that it's a paid ad, right? They kind of have to. They do it across social too, and most media companies, even associations and publications, you got to say like sponsored somewhere in the ad. So you know this is a sponsored ad. I don't know if that's a law or not, but 30% of people are clicking it. You would think in your guys' space, industrial manufacturing, you've got ops, engineering, purchasing people. You would think that they would be like, yeah, those first 2, 3, 4, 5 search results, I don't want to click those because I know that those are paid ads. I want to go to the guys that got there organically into the bottom below that section. But Google is always changing how the search works, and they're changing where are paid spots, and they're changing what's more important than organic. And real quick, we'll digress and talk about Gemini, which is Google's AI system. So sometimes you guys may have seen it already. Sometimes when you're typing in a search, you get Gemini pop up and it says AI, and it tells you the answer to the question that you're asking, or it tells you information about what you're looking for. If you're not paying for that as a workspace service, then you're going to get it every once in a while, maybe every 5 to 10 searches. It's like, boop, right below the search, it says, hey, here's our AI response. And then you can scroll on from there. But everything's changing with search. So you don't always know what's paid and always know what's not, but most of them say sponsored on it. And so 30% of people are clicking sponsored. Now, go into the organic. So after the paid section, whether there's a map or not, after the FAQ, which are those frequently asked questions, you click the drop down arrow. Then you get into the organic first position. About 25 to 30% of people click that first position. So now we're up to about over half, 60% of people have clicked either an ad or the first position. When you get into position 2 and 3, it starts to plummet drastically. Position 2 is maybe around like 15, 18% of people click that. Go down to position 3, you're down to single digits, 8%, 9%, and then 4, so on and so forth, to where once you're past like position 5, nobody's really clicking your stuff. Now, you guys may have noticed that Google changed a while ago, 6 months ago or so. There is no longer pages at the bottom. It's just continuous scroll. So you scroll and scroll and scroll forever. So there is no, oh, now I'm on page 2. So the joke used to be, if you want to bury a body, bury it on page 2 of Google because nobody goes there. But now that it's a continuous scroll, I still feel like people aren't going much past that. And the data hasn't changed much in the last 6 months. It's about the same. On average, roughly 30% of people click paid ads, 30%, 25 to 30% of people click first position. So if we look at paid versus organic, the organic long-term SEO, so your on-page SEO, off-page SEO, how your site is optimized, what your meta titles, descriptions, H tags, alt tags on your images, density of your keywords, how your entire site structure is set up from a search standpoint, all of that is going to dictate where you're ranking in positions. And so when you look at the strategy aspect of it, it's like, okay, if you've got, let's say, 12 main primary keywords, it's like CNC machine shop Midwest, or it's like custom injection molding, medical injection molding, automation packaging equipment, or packaging equipment for this industry. Whatever your 12, let's just say 12 keywords are, if you're not ranking in the top 3, in the top 5, and you've got budget to run paid, it might make sense for you to say, hey, until my organic rankings get up, and it doesn't matter if you're position 8 or position 80, until I'm up there organically in the top 3, top 5, it might make sense for you to say, I'm going to run a paid campaign to put me up at the top. And even in that paid campaign, you're looking at competing with the people that are also in the space. So it could be 3, 4 people, it could be 12 people are all bidding on the same positions. So those of you that don't know, the way that the paid search works is, and this is for most ad platforms, it's you're going to pay a penny more than the next highest bidder. So if you're out there and you say, I'm willing to spend $3 on the search phrase CNC machine shop Midwest, or CNC Swiss screw machine shop, let's say that Swiss screw machine shop, you are willing to pay $3, but I'm willing to pay $10. Google's only going to charge me $3.01, 1 penny more than the highest bidder. If my total bid that I'm willing to spend is $10 and you're only willing to spend $3, I'm only going to be charged $3 and a penny. Now, you may say, oh, I'm willing to spend 5, 6, 7, 8, and you start bumping up the cost on it, and everybody else follows suit because they're like, I'm not showing up, I'm not at the highest. And you're trying to like figure out what is the highest bid. Eventually you get to $10. Now you can spend more than $10 as long as your budget's over that, if you're doing it like on a cost per click standpoint. And so there's lots of different strategies within a paid search campaign, how to execute it, which we can't go into those details because that would take me an extra hour. We're just looking at when to use it, how to use it. So number one, if your organic SEO is not strong enough to push you at the top of the organic search results, it may make sense to say, hey, I'm going to spend $1,000 a month to start ranking high for this, or $2,000 a month because I've got these 50 keywords that I'm going after and different phrases and whatnot. So I want to show up in those top search results. Now, here's the key though. If you're doing that, you have to track and measure the performance very closely, because when those campaigns are set up, we deal with this all the time. Regina, one of our PPC specialists, will get into a campaign and it's set up for broad match across the board. Everything's broad match. It's not phrase match, it's not exact match. And what that basically means is broad match means that if I say Swiss screw shop or Swiss screw machine company, you can type in Swiss, you can type in screw, you can type in machine, or one of those words, and I'm going to be competing with that. When you get into phrase match, which is the next setting on that specific keyword, you say phrase match, it has to be a combination of the phrase. So maybe two words are together. Now, the exact match, which is the most specific, says if they don't type in exactly these words in their search, my ad's not going to show up. But we'll get into campaigns and it's like we're spending $5,000 a month. We get in, audit the results, and it's like, whoa, all this set is to broad match. No wonder why the performance isn't there. So you have to track the performance and say, number one, if you're running paid search campaigns on Google, Bing, wherever, and you look at once the traffic clicks, so they click and they go to your site. Now, whether you're still tracking based on like the technology or the terminology that Google Universal Analytics says, which is bounce rate, versus Google Analytics 4, which is engagement time or engagement rate, does not matter. It just is going to tell you the percentage of people that are going past just the landed on page. So if your pages per session is average, like you want somebody to go deeper into it, so they click, that's one page, you want them to go to a second page. Your bounce rate, if you still have systems that are tracking that, sometimes it's like 95%, which means 95% of people are going to that and then bouncing. Or if, on the flip side, Google Analytics says engagement rate. If your engagement rate is 5%, that means that 5% of people are going past the first page. That's not good, right? So you want to look at it and say, people clicked and they went to my page and they went to my site. Did they stick and stay there? Did they go deeper? Did it turn into a lead, a conversion from a search to a lead? That's kind of step one. But you got to audit these results, because here's the thing to keep in mind. I say this on every discovery call, and I say this to anybody when we're talking about paid search. You don't know the intent behind why somebody is searching. You could assume based on the phrase that they're saying, is their intent to purchase something, to do research? If they're saying like CNC Machine Shop Chicago, there's a high likelihood that they're looking for a solution to a problem. They're looking for a supplier. That's what Google's going to tell you. But you don't really know. It could be me trying to build a list of CNC machine shops in Chicago. I could be say, I want to market to and go after people that are trying to run paid ads on these. So I'm going to do a search, or my team's going to do a search. We're going to say these 5 people are consistently running ads with these phrases. Let's reach out to them to try and tell them that we should market their company. So you don't know the intent. There's a higher likelihood based on the search type or the phrase that they're using, but you don't know the intent. So because of that, you're spending money potentially on bad clicks. So you have to track this stuff on a weekly basis. That's the key there. Number 2, another time to use it. Let me not forget Mr. Purple. Another time to use it is to defend your brand. B-R-A-N-D, brand. What do I mean by that? So check it out. This doesn't happen as much anymore, but we still have situations in here at our agency where we have clients that we run into this and we got to fight. Somebody types in your company brand and you've got competitors that are running paid ads against your brand. And you may be thinking to yourself, like, how is that even possible? So here's the thing. With all the changes of Google over the last 2 years, Google says that if I'm ABC company and my competitor is Joe's company wants to try and rank for ABC company because they're trying to steal my potential leads and my potential customers. Now, if Joe's company does not have ABC company on their site, in their keywords, pages about it, using the phrase, etc., Google's going to say that the quality of that campaign for them is not super high. So we're probably not going to show that. But so many times it slips through for a period of time. So we've got brands that we're defending on Google search right now, where we have to report the ad campaigns to Google, saying that this person is like phishing or is not being representative of exactly what is true, because they're ranking against our customers' branded phrase, which is their company name. So if ABC Companies like types in a search and their competitors are showing up as a paid ad, a lot of times, you know what happens is it's in the company name. So whether it is, you say something plastics molding. So if that's in your company name and somebody's trying to do a phrase match to something plastics company, like injection molding plastics company or injection molding company, let's use that. The phrase is injection molding company, and my company's name is Kyle's Injection Molding Company or Kyle's Molding Company. Somebody types in Kyle's Molding Company because they're looking for me. They want to do business with me. But because it's a specific industry or vertical or manufacturing process phrase, molding company, then I have competitors that already have that on their site. So it's like people that were building these businesses 20, 50, 100 years ago weren't thinking like, oh, it's important what the name says. Back then they were like, if my company name is Kyle's Molding Company or Kyle's Injection Plastics Molding Company, then people are going to know what I do and they're going to want to do business with me. Or Kyle's CNC Machine Shop, but not realizing, obviously, and having the foresight to say, well, there's going to be Google is going to come out and people are going to run paid ads against that, and this is how they're going to handle it, etc. So now you're in the situation where, depending on your company name and what phrase you're trying to defend, if it is your company name and your vertical, your service, the manufacturing process you have is in your name, you now open up the door for competitors to say, wait, I do that and I'm doing a phrase match. So I'm going after CNC Machine Shop or CNC Machining. I'm not trying to hurt this guy and his brand name, Kyle's CNC Machining Shop. I'm not trying to go after it, Google. I'm just trying to go after the phrase match. And Google's like, yep, you know what? Pretty much we're going to show this to you. So you could get into situations where you're defending your brand, and that's when it pays to go after and run a search campaign. I know it sounds stupid and it's a ridiculous waste of money, but you're defending your position when it comes time to somebody searching for your actual brand. We came across a situation with one of our customers' competitors, and you type in our customer's name and their ad shows up at the top because we're willing to spend the most amount of money, so we get the people that are looking for it. Competitor's ad was right below it, but they were doing something new with Google, which is a dynamic headline. So the headline in the search is the blue underlined and hyperlinked word, which is like the main phrase, the meta title of it. And it said our customer's name in it. And I was like, oh my God, they're using dynamic heading, which is, and you may have seen this before, when you set up the ad, you can say use a dynamic heading, which is pulling in the person's search phrase into the heading, so it makes it seem like it's super hyper relevant. Now, when you click on that page and go to it, the name was not anywhere on there, but they just put, hey, we want to put a dynamic heading here based on the search phrase, and then Google just does its thing to make it super relevant. I'll type in the phrase looking for instance, a part for my dishwasher. I was looking for a new top console piece. I typed it in, Whirlpool, blah, 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 console. And as I'm scrolling through the paid ads, I'm looking, and it's like, it says my exact model name in the headline. And I clicked on that link, whether it's to partsupply.com or whatever, Amazon, whatever it was. It said my model number in the link. And then I click on it. I'm like, this isn't even the same model number. That's because they're using a dynamic heading. They're pulling in the model, what I typed in, they're pulling it into the search results for their paid campaign. So you got to be careful about protecting your brand. You never want to just think like, nope, I'm not going to run paid ads against that. It's a pain to deal with, but spending $200, $300, $500, $1,500 a month to protect when somebody types in your company name, protect that you show up at the top for that, it's worth it. Now, if companies or if people, if the search person, if the user is really focused on like, I'm trying to go after your brand, they're going to look twice before they just click something that says your name. They're going to look, and even when they land on the page, if they're loyal to your brand, if they're really trying to find you because they heard good things from referral or saw you at a trade show, they're going to go to the page. Oh, this isn't it. They're going to look at the logo and be like, this isn't it, and they're going to hit the back button. The more times people do that, it just tells Google this is not a good search phrase. So therefore, we should lower the quality score and not show this up. And also people have reported, so we definitely shouldn't see it. But don't forget about that, is defending your brand, your company's name. If you Google search it, are people running paid ads? Sometimes you'll have to go incognito. Sometimes you'll have to change your location because it's going to be based on your location. But people could be running that. Number 3, quality scoring. What does this even mean? Quality. I kind of touched on this. So this gets in a little bit of optimization, but I'm talking about why you need to do it. So quality scoring is basically Google saying your page to your phrase and what you're trying to go after. We're going to give you a score out of 10 based on the phrases, the keywords, the language used, the URL that people are going to, the meta title description, the on-page SEO for that landed on page. They're going to give you a quality score. They're also going to say, we show this to some people, they click, they hit the back button, that can lower your quality score, or they click and they move forward and then there's a conversion event that's going to increase your quality score. But you have to focus on the quality score to make sure that your stuff is super relevant. So when you're sending traffic to a page or you're looking at your analytics, look at the quality score of that ad. If it's 5, 6 out of 10, there's areas for improvement. You're not trying to get 10 out of 10 because that can't happen most of the time unless you built a page specifically for that campaign, which you can do, which we do for some customers. They've got their organic page for, let's say, again, CNC Machine Shop. They've already got their organic page, but phrases that I'm using for a paid search are a little bit different. So I'm going to build a different page on their site that's specific to these ad campaigns and send these ad campaigns traffic to this new page I build. And it's been optimized for those search phrases, which is going to increase the quality score, which is going to increase the likelihood for it to get shown, and it's going to send in better quality traffic. But you got to pay attention to that. So if you're looking at a campaign and you're like, I want to run paid search, but I'm not going to focus on changing the copy on the site or the URL or anything like that, maybe it's not worth it for you. You can test it out and run it with your existing organic pages that you have to send traffic to pages that are on your site. But if you don't see a huge improvement and you don't have the resources or budget to create a landing page, which is not a big deal, it's not a lot of money to do it, especially if you're partnering with an agency like ours, we just do it as part of the service. If we're trying to run an optimized paid search, then what we're doing is we're going to build pages, change copy, write copy, graphics, whatever we need to do to make sure that that campaign is successful. If you don't have those resources or that partnership, then you're like, you know what? I'm going to scratch this. I'm going to go after different paid searches. So you got to keep in mind, like Google's constantly trying to, their number one goal is to have somebody search for any phrase, any question, they get the results, they click on it, they get the answer to their question. That doesn't happen a lot of times. People go back, people change their question, people scroll, pick position 5, 6, 7. Google's paying attention and saying, okay, why did they click that one? Why did they go past these? Or why did they leave? Something must be wrong, audit the results, etc. Make changes to how the bidding strategy is and who's going to show up at the top. Got to pay attention to the quality score. Number 4. So now we're going to get into a little bit strategy. Here's something that is not new, but probably new to you. So let's just talk paid. When should you use paid media? Now, I'm not going to get into all of the times you should use paid media. I'm going to get into 2 specific times that are so simple, so easy to set up if you partner with the right people. Let's talk geofencing. Geofencing is putting a virtual fence around a location. A lot of times people geofence a zip code, they geofence an area, they geofence a city, and they say, this is my target demographic. That's the traditional way of doing it. Here's something that is newer, and you might be completely new to you, and something that we're doing all the time, every single day for a lot of our customers is we're geofencing the physical location. So I've got a list of companies. Let's say there's 100 companies. I've got the addresses of those companies because I built the list using the tools that we have. Now I've got 100 companies with the addresses. I'm going to put that into a geofencing program. It's going to create a box, polygon, whatever type of shape you want around that physical building. That's a virtual fence that anytime a device walks through it, your phone, it's going to pick it up and say, this device ID just broke through this geofence. I'm going to now serve a retargeted ad. The retargeted ad is on Google's display network. So just like when you're on Amazon looking for something, you start to see that item elsewhere when you didn't purchase it. That's Google display retargeting. You go to a website, You leave, you go to another website, they've got ad space, left side, right side banner, top, bottom, wherever, in the middle of an article or a report. And you'll see a graphic, a logo, an image, some text. That's Google display retargeting. Now, geofencing, what that does is you're saying specifically these companies, these are a fit for me, so I'm very specific and strategic. These are a fit, and if people break through that fence and walk through that building, then I'm going to serve a retargeted ad on Google's display network plus Google's partners. Now, you can't control if it's the janitor or the CEO because it just sees a device ID. You can control some of the demographics behind, like male, female, age, etc., which it knows based on the device ID what the purchase type is and who it's registered to and all that stuff. You won't know who it is, but you'll just know that somebody that broke that geofence saw your display ad, clicked it, and went to your website. Geofencing is great. It's something hard that we're pushing because you can geofence any sort of location. We geofence buildings, we geofence competitors, we geofence trade shows, we geofence halls within trade shows. You can pretty much geofence anything that's out there as long as you have an address. And Regina's watching from the window. She just got back from lunch. She's our PPC specialist. I told her to come in here and, dude, I want you to talk about this. And she was like, no, not today. Super nervous about it. But geofencing, that can work. Now, you're not going to go into and say, I'm going to get 100 million leads from this geofencing, but brand awareness, showing up when people go through the building, then they start to search anywhere else on the internet, and you start to see your graphic, your logo, some sort of ad. That's what's great, is that it's all about omnipresence. So if you're trying to be everywhere all at the same time, they go into work and you're already hitting them with paid search ads, right? They type in CNC machine shop, they type in robotics integration company, you're doing paid search, you're connecting with them on LinkedIn, you're sending them emails from email marketing, and when they go to work and leave, they start to see your ad on their phone elsewhere. Like, that's a great situation. That's the ideal situation, is that you are everywhere all at the same time. Geofencing does one of that. So you want to show up on paid search, you want to show up in organic, you want to show up on their phone whenever you can, email, social, trade shows, in their postal mail. If you did that to everybody, if you had an unlimited budget and said, I'm just going to do all of that, then there's a much higher likelihood that you'll get new deals in the top of your funnel. Now, the key is that you don't have an unlimited budget. You can't do all that at once. You have to do it in micro levels. So you spend $2,000 or $20,000 on paid search, less on email, maybe 2 trade shows a year, but you balance out what your strategy is. But geofencing, if you guys are interested in geofencing and having paid campaigns run around your competitors, that's a great one. If your competitors have customers that come into their building, into their location, you can geofence your competitor's location and say, I'm going to geofence these 10 companies and run paid display retargeted ads to it. If your competitors don't have customers in the building, or maybe it's like 2-3 times a month, you get a potential customer that comes into your building and the competitors would be roughly similar, then you want to go after your target demographic, geofence that. Last but certainly not least, the time to use paid at the basic level is retargeting. So geofencing uses retargeting, right? You're using Google's display network to retarget people, but at the most basic level, being able to say, I've got people on paid search, that traffic went to my website. I want to take that traffic and then retarget them elsewhere on Google after they left my site, 30, 60, 90 days after they went to my site. I'm going to serve up some display ads. That is a critical component, because even if you didn't send paid traffic there, even if it was organic, you did something in the past to get enough brand awareness and attention, or maybe something on social, or you create a lot of videos and live content to where they're like, you know what, I want to check out that company. So you invested time or money into generating that awareness around your brand. Then they come to your website. If you're not going to then have a retargeting campaign to follow them throughout the internet, then it's just a wasted opportunity. It'd be like somebody signing up for your newsletter and you don't deliver the newsletter, nor do you follow up with emails. So it's like, why did you even do that? So coupling that together, you've got paid, so you've got organic working, but you're not there yet. So you're like, I'm going to run some paid search. You run in paid search. And then after that, you're like, I'm optimizing my score. I'm perfecting it. I've got things going on to where I'm trying to analyze the data and make sure it's as optimized as possible. Then I've got some geofencing going on those addresses. And if any of those things hit, organic, paid search, geofencing, whatever, social link. They come to your site. You want to make sure that you can run display retargeted ads. It's not a lot of money. You're talking maybe, let's say you get 5,000 hits a month to your website, 7,000 hits. You're talking maybe like $300, $400, $500 a month max on your display retargeted campaigns. It's not a lot of money. It's a small drop in the bucket, but you're trying to get those people to come back to your website. That's where the retargeting comes in. So those are the areas when you should use paid search. We're going to take a short break. Don't know what clip Riley's got, but I'm sure it's something that is dope, and we'll be right back.
Video is important because this is what people are engaging with right now. So if you're not currently producing videos at scale or working with an agency like ours that has the team and the expertise to get that attention, then essentially you're missing out on opportunities. And what's going to happen is once you finally do wake up in a year, 2 years, 3 years, the market's already moved on to something more advanced and something more in depth with video, and you're just going to be that much further behind the 8 ball.
In the last year alone, MFG Tribe has created over 1,500 videos.
We have a dedicated process to make sure that our clients are getting our best video work that we can.
In the end, the goal of a video is to show you a brand, what they do, who they are, and why. And I love that.
We really believe in what video can do for marketing.
I'll put my video team against any agency out there that's in this space. Nobody's looking to be average, right? So fuck average, be legendary. Stop working with those companies that think that they know your industry. Work with those that actually do know it.
All right, we're back. Hopefully you guys like that video that Riley made. I thought it was pretty dope. If you did, show some hearts and some love to him. Be like, Riley, you're the best. He loves that shit. He walks around the whole office for the next week being like, did you guys see the comments that people left on the LinkedIn Live we did? They're saying that I'm the best and the greatest in the world. It's actually not true, but Riley likes to think it's true. All right, questions, comments, Riley. Let's hear it.
So we do have a question from Mr. Tim Drinkwater.
Mr. Tim Drinkwater.
He asked, how do you track your organic ranking?
So organic ranking, we track with SEMrush. You can also use Moz. You can use Ahrefs. So we track it for us, for all of our clients, we add in our competitors. So we have paid services that we pay for it. If you guys want to track yours, I don't know how much SEMrush would cost an individual user, maybe $50, $75, $100 a month. We spend significantly more than that because we're tracking 20, 30 clients plus all their competitors. But the key is that you want to track it, and you can track it at a national level, you can track it at a state level, a local level by putting in a zip code. So for most of our clients, we say let's track their organic rankings nationally. So if anybody in the United States searches, where would they show up? And then specifically to their focused geographic location. So maybe it's Charlotte, North Carolina, Chicago, Illinois, and we'll add multiple tracking. I think you can do up to 50 per project. Add those in there because we want to see how they're showing up in different cities, different focus. And then from there, we also track 3 competitors next to them. So we see where they're at, beginning of the month, end of the month, and then to the right of that is going to be their competitors. Where were they at beginning of the month, end of the month for these search phrases? We track that pretty extensively because it gives you indications into who's making improvements, who's having losses. If we see that a competitor is slipping in a specific area, we may double down on that strategy for that keyword and say we got to push harder to really dominate it. But we track using SEMrush. You can, choked on that. You can use Moz, M-O-Z. You can use Ahrefs. Lots of tools out there. There might be some cheaper tools, but SEMrush, SEMrush, those guys are the best.
And then Tim also says that he's heard of geofencing being used for employment ads as well.
Yeah, so you can use geofencing for pretty much anything. They've been at a consumer level forever. Like if you think about, and after we got into it pretty deep, we did this internally, and Regina was like, no wonder why I was getting these ads. So if you walk into a gym and then you start to get ads for food on your phone or for different things that are relevant to a gym, That's because somebody geofenced that gym. So at a consumer level, direct to consumer or B2C, I would say if I have an ice cream shop, I want to hit up all of the restaurants in the area and geofence those. And maybe it's only specific restaurants. And I also want to geofence all of the other ice cream shops in the area. Maybe I want to geofence something that's similar to it, like, hey, like a place for the family to go to where they go to like an arcade or something like that. I want to hit those people up with ads about my ice cream shop because it's relevant to them at the time. So they pull up their phone, they start searching something, and they're like, oh, ice cream, that sounds good. That's one way that a lot of companies have been using it forever. Twisting it into B2B, especially in industrial, that's where our strategy is pretty specific with going after company locations, trade shows, etc. We've been doing it now exclusively for about 9 months in a lot of areas after we got the system completely perfect, and it's been producing pretty good results. At a bare minimum, it's focusing on brand awareness. So going back to your question, you've seen it for employment stuff. Yes, you can geofence a school. You can geofence a specific area. I mean, even with like, if you're trying to hire machinists for your company, Tim, I would go after Facebook and run paid ad campaigns on Facebook and on Instagram for a specific zip code around your location based on the person's interests. So you're looking for people that are around Janesville, Wisconsin, maybe within 20 miles, 25 miles, depending on how far people are willing to drive to you, and then going after their likes or their interests. And you can do that super cheap. You're talking like a couple pennies per impression. So those are great campaigns to run. You don't necessarily have to use geofencing. You can just use Facebook's algorithm for that. But if you did want to, yeah, geofence a school, geofence a trade, geofence a competitor. If they're local to you, run ads saying, hey, we've got an opening for this CNC machinist or this program or whatever. You can see some decent traction there. That's all that Riley's got. So while I close out, he's going to keep checking because there is a 30 to 40-second delay. So guys, hopefully you got value out of this content. If you did, I want you to share it with somebody that you know. If you're not in marketing or you're not handling this on the day-to-day, if you think that this is good content, send it over to them. If you're a smaller company, you want to send it directly to the CEO or the president, do it. That's what we're here to do, is provide you guys with valuable insights and content, give you the things that you can implement today. We always want to make sure that when you walk away from any live content or any video that we produce, that you have 1, 2, 3 bullet points. You can say, I can start doing this today. It's not just based on theory. We try to go into the actual, here's the steps, do this. So share, get the word out there, because we don't promote this show a ton. We don't promote the content an insane amount. And so anything that you guys can do to help us grow as a company, help this channel grow, we greatly appreciate it. We good to close out, Riley? Riley says we're good to close out. So guys, head over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. Make sure you go to our event this Thursday, where Alex and I will come live talking about pre-show or post-show industrial trade show stuff from a sales standpoint. We will see you on the next one.